Welcome back, children, to our social studies class. Children, today we are going to start with the second chapter of civics, that is Prejudice and Discrimination. So let's begin with it. Now, first of all, children, we need to know about this term prejudice. See, if you remember, then in the previous chapter we studied about diversity. Diversity in our country is present in social groups, then languages, food habits, customs, religions, beliefs, okay, and many other aspects. And it will continue to exist, and that is what makes our country a unique one. Okay, so we as individuals and as communities, we accept each other's differences. Okay, and we are dependent on each other to fulfill our needs. Okay, that is why we are known as social beings, because we are dependent on each other to fulfill our needs. Okay, but sometimes this particular term, children, that is diversity, is misunderstood. Okay, how it is misunderstood? See, this happens, children, when we form certain negative or bad opinion about those people who are not like us. Okay, such opinions are called prejudices. Okay. Now, this particular term, children, prejudice, will be more clear in your mind once we go through the example which is given over here. Okay, so just concentrate over there. Now, in the next paragraph, children, they are talking about an example. See, sometimes we come across people who are not like us, who are different from us. Okay, and because they are different from us, we behave strangely with them. Okay, and look down on them. For example, they have shared an example over here. See, a Hindi speaking person may think Hindi is the best language and all other languages are inferior to it. So here, children, they are talking about a Hindi speaking person, okay, who feels that Hindi is the best language, okay, and all other languages are inferior, okay. Inferior means of low social value, okay. So this thing is prejudice, okay, prejudice against languages other than Hindi. Now, this person, children, who has this prejudice that Hindi only is the best language, might ill-treat, that means mistreat or make fun of a person who is not speaking in Hindi, who is speaking in other languages. Understood? So, this is wrong. So I hope this particular term, children, prejudice, is clear in your mind with this particular example. So we should not have bad opinions, negative opinions about others in our mind who are different from us. Understood? Now talking about stereotype. Now, what is stereotype, children? One of the serious problems caused by prejudice is the creation of stereotypes. Now, if you have understood the term prejudice, understanding this term will be very easy. Okay. Here they are telling that prejudice gives rise to stereotype. How? When we fit all persons of a particular group into one fixed image, when we are fitting these persons, okay, who are belonging to a particular group into a fixed image, then we are creating a stereotype. How? We will see through an example. So the example over here which they have shared is, see, you must have heard people saying that girls are not good at mathematics, or boys are naughty and girls are gentle. All these are stereotypes, okay. They are neither true for all the boys nor for all the girls, but they fit large number of people into one image. When people say that boys are naughty, girls are very gentle, then it is not true for all the boys and not true for all the girls. This is a stereotype which we have created. Even girls are naughty and even boys are gentle. Understood? So, that thinking needs to be changed. They do not recognize that each individual is unique and has special qualities. Each and every individual has its own special qualities. A boy can be gentle, a boy can cry. Okay, sometimes you might also have heard people saying that boys don't cry. Okay, then if a boy is crying, then they will tell him that, why are you crying? Are you a girl? Okay, so all these things are wrong. Why? A boy can also cry. Okay, boys also have emotions. So all these stereotypes are created by the society, which needs to be changed. Now on the other side, first para, they are telling that stereotypes are created about those who belong to a particular region, then religion, race, economic background. They have given you an example also for that. See, stereotypes are fair-skinned people are superior to dark-skinned people. Now this is an example. Superior means they are better than the dark-skinned people. Okay, they are at a higher position than the dark-skinned people, who fair-skinned people. Okay, now people of towns and cities are cleverer than village people. This again is the other stereotype depending upon the place they are living. Okay, region. Okay, so what they are telling over here, that the people who are living in towns, they are more, towns and cities, they are more clever, they are more smart than the people who are living in village areas. Okay, so this is wrong. A person who is living in village area can also be clever. Understood? These stereotypes we have created. Okay, next they are also telling one more example they have given. See, people with physical disabilities are stupid. Now this again is an example of stereotype. Okay, in this they are trying to tell that if a person is suffering from any physical disability, then he or she is considered as stupid, which is wrong. Okay, such stereotypes can hurt people's feelings. Okay, and ultimately it will result in misunderstanding. And all such stereotypes, children, they can create conflict between various communities and groups. One important thing which we all need to remember is that all individuals, all social groups have different ways of doing the same thing. Okay, and we need to respect that. We need to respect that different ways. Understood? Now, in the next paragraph, children, they have taken an example of different types of families which are there in our society. And in that, they are talking about the different stereotypes which are created about the roles of different members in a family. Okay. Now, earlier, only male members went out of the house and they used to earn for the whole family. Okay. Earn money for the whole family, and the work of women was to stay at home, take care of the house and children. Understood? But as the time changed, especially in city areas, children, as the women got more and more educated, they started working outside. Okay, and in such families, even the male members were involved in doing the household work. Okay, so all these changes in the roles of members came due to the changing conditions. And this particular thing does not mean that families in which women are working outside are better or are worse than the families in which women don't work outside. Understood? So this is a stereotype which we people have created. The main purpose of both the types of families is same. What is the main purpose of both the types of families? To take care of the needs of all the members of the family, which both the types of families are doing. Okay, so there is no need to create such stereotype. Understood? Now our next topic of discussion is prejudice and discrimination. We have already done with the topic, with the term, I would say, prejudice. Okay, now we will study what is discrimination and how these two terms are related to each other. See, discrimination, children, basically means distinction. Okay, to make distinction. Distinction means a clear difference between people. On what basis? On the basis of class, race, religion, gender, age, and many other aspects, without regard to individual merit. Merit here means worth. So, without considering a person's worth, we are making these distinctions. Okay. Prejudices arising out of diversity and inequality lead to discrimination. In simple words, children, if I define discrimination, then discrimination means treating a person unfairly, okay, because of who they are or because they possess a certain characteristic which you don't like, you are discriminating that person, okay, you are just treating that person unfairly. That is discrimination, okay. And in the last sentence of this paragraph, they are telling that prejudices arising out of diversity. You all know that India is a land of diversity. Okay, so we should respect each other's differences. So instead of that, the prejudices which are arising from this diversity and inequality, they lead to this discrimination. They give rise to this discrimination. Understood? Now, our next subtopic is diversity and discrimination. Now, here they are telling children that diversity can be a source of discrimination. That means it can give rise to discrimination. How? See, people who are belonging to a certain region, who are speaking a certain language or following a particular religion, we might see them as inferior. Okay, inferior means of low social position, or we are giving less importance to them just because they are belonging to a certain region, they are speaking a certain language, or they are following a particular religion, or they are having a particular food habit, okay, or a dressing sense, or whatever. Okay, just on the basis of that, we are treating them as inferior, okay, and discriminating them. So that is wrong. We should respect each other's differences. Okay, that is why they are telling over here that diversity can give rise to discrimination. We need to respect each other's differences, then only it will not give rise to discrimination. Now, children, talking about the caste system. Okay, caste system also, children, is developed due to discrimination. Okay, remember this thing, which is based on diversity of occupation. Occupation means work which we do. Okay, and under this system, children, people doing different kinds of work, okay, are placed in different caste. And if an individual is born, okay, in a particular caste, then he or she has to do the work which is done in that caste. Okay, he or she has to choose the profession of that caste in which they are born, even if they are capable of doing some other work in a better way. Understood? Not only choosing the profession, but they also have to follow the rules and customs of the particular caste in which they are born. Okay, the members of different castes were, they are basically talking about the earlier times. Okay, during that time they were not allowed to mix with each other, okay, eat together or marry each other. Understood? Now, castes were hierarchical. Now, what is the meaning of that? This means that there were high castes and low castes. The castes placed higher in the system discriminated against the lower castes. Obviously, those castes who are at higher position, you are discriminating that castes against the lower one. Okay, you are giving more importance to the castes which are at high position. Okay. The lowest castes, what were they called? They were called as untouchables. That means you cannot touch them. Okay, they were not allowed to draw water from the public wells. Okay, they were mistreated. Okay, they were not allowed to enter the temples, the schools. Okay, thus the caste system gave rise to social inequalities. Now, this thing gave rise to inequalities. Why? Because they were not treated equally like the other people. Okay. Now, in the next paragraph, they are telling that this caste system, children, it divides our society instead of uniting. Okay, it divides our society, and after our country got independence, this practice of untouchability has been declared illegal. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of illegal? Illegal, which is not allowed by the law. Okay, and this caste system, in the last sentence, they are telling that it still exists in our Indian society. Okay, although it has become less rigid. If we compare it with earlier times, it has become less rigid. Now it is not that much strict. Okay, but it is still existing. Okay. Now, talking about apartheid. Under this topic, children, they have discussed an example of discrimination which is based on racial diversity. Now, what they are telling, see, the policy of apartheid, that means separate development, once practiced by the white government of South Africa, is an example of discrimination based on racial diversity. Now, as I told you, they are discussing an example, and this example here, the policy of apartheid, what does it mean? It means separate development, and by whom it was practiced? Once practiced by white government of South Africa. Now, what was there in this? See, under this policy, South Africans who were not white were discriminated against. Okay. Now, who was discriminated in this? Under this apartheid, children? South Africans who were not white. We are talking about the skin color. Okay, so those who were not white, they were discriminated. They were treated in an unfair manner. Okay, they were not allowed to take part in the government. They were not allowed to use the facilities like hospitals, restaurants, railway, carriages, and many other things. Okay, all these things were meant only for the whites. Understood? In the next para, they are telling that this thing ended in the early 1990s. Okay, how it ended? It ended because of the efforts made by an organization called the African National Congress, okay, and its leaders like Nelson Mandela. Here you can see in the picture also it is given, okay, on the left side. Nelson Mandela fought against apartheid. So this came to an end in the early 1990s because of the efforts of this particular organization and its leaders. Next, they are talking about inequality and discrimination, how these two terms are related, that we will study. Now, here they are telling children that we have already studied that social inequality which arises from diversity leads to discrimination, right? But economic inequality also is a major source, also gives rise to discrimination, okay, in many countries, including our country, India. How? See. Now, you all are aware of the fact, children, that many people are so poor that they have no money to meet their basic needs, okay, basic necessities of life. And you all know that what are the basic necessities of life? Food, clothing, and shelter. So many people are so poor that they cannot afford these basic necessities also. Okay, poor people, mainly they face this discrimination. Okay, wherever they go, they face discrimination. Sometimes in schools, sometimes in hospitals, sometimes at the workplace. Okay, so this is a perfect example of inequality and discrimination. Okay, or you can say that it is an example which focuses on how economic inequality, okay, can be a main source of discrimination. Understood? Now children, talking about diversity and the Indian Constitution. Now here what they are telling is, see children, we have already studied under the caste system that after independence, fortunately, this caste system is losing its importance. Okay, this is basically they are talking about the city areas, towns, okay, and the whole credit for this goes to whom? Goes to the leaders who wrote the constitution of our country, India, okay, after independence. Now, what is a constitution, children? See. Constitution, children, is a set of principles, okay, which tells us the duties of the government and the rules by which the government will run the country. Now, it lays down some basic rules for the people to follow. We all have to follow particular rules, okay, which are mentioned in the constitution, so that everyday life can go on smoothly. Understood? Like children, as you all, when you come to school, okay, you all have to follow few rules, okay, basic rules you all have to follow, okay. Same way, being a citizen of our country, we have to follow the rules which are mentioned. Understood? Then only the whole country can run smoothly. Now, in the next paragraph, children, they are telling that the leaders who have written this constitution, okay, they were concerned about the different inequalities, okay, which existed in our country during the time of independence, okay. They were concerned about the problem of discrimination which was there in our society during that time. So keeping in mind all that things, okay, then they framed this particular constitution. Concerned means they were worried about the situation, okay, the different inequalities which were there in our society. Some of the leaders, children, like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was there, okay. He himself had to face this discrimination, social discrimination in his own life, okay, and then he fought against this discrimination. He knew what kind of situation a person has to go through when they have to face such discrimination. Understood? So all our leaders had a goal in their mind, goal of achieving the equality for all the independent Indians, okay, and no one should face inequality, should face problem of discrimination, okay. So keeping in mind that thing, they framed the Indian Constitution. Now in the next paragraph, see what they are telling, that Indian Constitution recognizes that India is a land of many languages, religions and cultures, okay. India is a land of diversity, okay, and this diversity can be beautiful if we respect each other's differences. Understood? In order to protect this diversity and to show respect to India's diverse social groups, different social groups, to show respect to them, to protect this diversity of our country, the Constitution has given all Indians the following rights, okay. Now what all rights are mentioned in the Constitution of our country, that we will study. Now talking about the first right, all Indians are equal before the law, okay. In the eyes of law, children, all citizens are equal, all Indians are equal. No one can be denied justice. Denied means mana karna, okay. So no one can be denied justice or can be treated badly, okay, in the name of caste, community, gender or religion. So on the grounds of these things, caste, community, gender or religion, you cannot ill-treat a person, okay, or you cannot deny justice. Untouchability has been abolished. Now, untouchability has been abolished. Abolished means it has been put to an end. It is considered as illegal now, okay. So overall, what they are telling in the first point, that all citizens, all Indian citizens, they are equal in the eyes of law. Okay, and here you might have come across the term justice. Justice means fair treatment, okay, with people. Nyay. Okay, so everyone should be treated fairly. Okay, now moving towards the next point. Here what they are telling, that every Indian citizen children is free to live wherever they want in the country, within the country. Okay, they are free to travel. Okay, then they can take up any job in any part of the country they want. So we are free to do that. Okay, and one important point is they can say anything in public without any fear. No need to get scared. Okay, so we are free to express our views. We are free to speak in public. Okay, but one thing we have to keep in mind, that this freedom of speech doesn't mean that you are causing any harm to someone by speaking those words, any harm to your country, any harm to any citizen. Okay, so that is not right. Freedom of speech doesn't mean that. Freedom of speech means you can express your views over here, but that should not hurt anyone. Understood? Then talking about the third point. Here they are telling that no Indian citizen can be exploited. Exploited means treated unfairly, okay, or forced to work. So no citizen children can be forced to work. Okay, you cannot force anyone to work, and if someone is working, okay, then you should treat them nicely. No one should be exploited. That means no one should be treated unfairly. Everybody should be treated fairly, okay, in a fair manner. Now in the same point, they are giving you an example. For example, no child aged below 14 can be made to work in mines, factories and other dangerous places. So if a child is below 14 years of age, then you cannot force that child specially to work in mines, then factories and the places which are dangerous. Understood? And they are also telling that no person can be made to work without pay. If a person is working, then the place where they are working, they have to pay for the work. Okay, they have to pay that person for the work which he or she has done. Without pay, you cannot keep a person. Understood? Moving towards the fourth point. Every Indian has the right to follow the religion of his or her choice. Okay, every Indian citizen has this choice that they can follow the religion which they want. Understood? And they are also mentioning that you all know that India is a secular country. Now what does this mean? This means that all religions are equal before the government and the law of the land. Like each and every citizen is equal in the eyes of law, same way all religions are equal in the eyes of government, or you can say equal before government and the law of the land. Now in the next point, that is the fifth point, what they are telling, that each and every community, they have the right to preserve. Preserve means to keep something safely. Okay, to keep something in a good condition. Okay, so each and every community has this right that they can preserve and promote. Promote means to encourage something. Okay, its own language, the language of that community, then script and customs. Understood? It can even run its own schools for this purpose. Every community has that right that they can run their own school, okay, for this particular purpose, for the purpose of preserving and promoting their own language, their own script and customs. They are free to run their own school. Now in the last point, what they are telling, the main point, A person can go to a court of law if he or she is denied any of these rights. Any person, any citizen children is free to go to the court of law. Okay, if they are not getting these rights, if anyone is denied means इनकार करना, किसी को भी अगर ये rights नहीं मिलते हैं. Okay, if they are denied any of these rights which are mentioned above, they are free to go to the court of law. Understood? Now, one important point, children, which I would like to add up over here is, before finishing up this chapter, is that all the rights which are mentioned over here, we all can enjoy these rights only and only if we perform our duties perfectly. Understood? With this, we come to an end of this chapter. End of session. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you in the next lecture.